It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
That's caught! Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Richie right to the rim, driving score! He would not be denied!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Sponsored by Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. Your hosts are Mitch Harper and Kyle Ireland. On Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Hour number 2 is off and running on this BYU basketball game day. The number 9 BYU Cougars are going to take on the Utah Utes at the Huntsman Center. Tip-off tonight at 8 p.m. Pre-game begins at 7. We'll have full coverage inside the Huntsman Center on KSLSports.com. And to get a breakdown on this matchup and get his thoughts on this high-flying BYU basketball team, we're joined now by BYU great and former NBA player Eric Mika. Eric, welcome on into Cougar Sports Saturday. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate you being on board here. When you hear BYU and Utah rivalry in basketball, what comes to mind?
Yeah, I think of getting tossed from a game up at the Huntsman Center, which was a good time. I got a flagrant 2, I think, and that was an ugly game, and that solidified a real feeling that I reserved for that team. I also just think, on a more positive note, I think I'm with TJ Hawes right now, so I'm going to give him a shout out, even though I can't stand him. I think of the TJ to Yoli dunk.
Oh yeah,
and I think that was in the Delta Center.
Yeah, 2018.
And then I also just think, we've been saying this on our show as well after last game, like you just kind of throw stats and lines and narratives and whatever momentum out the window. Like it's just so strange when it comes to these rivalry games. Like doesn't matter what roster's better and who's playing better, who's got more money, who's got this, that, or the third home court advantage. Like it's just they're always weird games, and it's weird to say that and observe that even in today's day and age where you have this like carousel of players and less like homegrown, grown up in the rivalry than ever before. I mean, looking at BYU, I don't know how many guys grew up having this as a part of their life outside of Richie, maybe Brody Kozlowski. There's not a ton, right? Jared McGregor maybe. But on the flip side at the U, I obviously don't know their roster nearly as good as I know BYU's, but there might not be a single guy. So even with the funkiness of today's day and age, like those games are weird. So I'm excited to see how we come out tonight.
Eric, talking about that with some of you and your teammates at BYU and, the local guys that you played with in high school that went to BYU with you and kind of growing up in the rivalry. Can you maybe share some of your feelings about growing up and what your thoughts and feelings were on that game and the matchup during your prep years and what it meant to you when you chose to attend BYU and kind of before you actually played in that game, what the mindset was?
Yeah, I think I have kind of a unique view on it, or at least experience with it, because I grew up going to school in Sandy, and so all my friends and their families were diehard Ute fans, and they had season tickets to Ute games. So I'd go to BYU games with my family, and then I'd go to Utah games with my buddies. So, I kind of was more of a Utah fan because those were the games I'd go to with my friends, and then I got older and got closer to committing to BYU, and all my siblings had gone there, and I was getting recruited by them, and then I flipped over to BYU, and so it's kind of a complicated history, but I really like both of them passionately at one point, which sounds weird to say. And then as soon as I stepped foot on BYU, and like I mentioned, we played at the U, I was like, all right, well, I guess I really got to pick a side here now, right?
Talk with BYU great Eric Mika here on Cougar Sports. Saturday, BYU going to be taking on Utah tonight, 8 p.m. tip. You can listen to Eric, too, on his podcast, Washed Up Podcast, with Center Street Media. Eric, I'm curious, when you see this BYU team, what is there a question maybe that you still have with this group that you want to see answered as BYU continues to navigate Big 12 play, or do you feel like this team's arrived to where they've already established themselves as one of the best teams in college basketball right now?
Yeah, I don't really have any questions. I think we've seen everything we're going to see, right? Like, I don't think we'll be surprised by anything the rest of the way, right? As far as personnel and roles and people's responsibilities and contributions to the team and their success. That being said, I don't think we'll be surprised by anything, but it will be interesting to follow, what we do with this tight rotation that we've kind of been playing with. It's not like we got to Big 12 and it's like, all right, now we're playing less guys. We've just been playing less guys, right? So the starting five are playing heavy minutes, especially Richie, Wright, and DeBansa. They're averaging pretty high numbers and quite a bit of usage. So, I think that the thing to follow is how sustainable is that, right? Like, can we stay healthy? Can our guys still have energy come, early February all the way to mid-March, like when everybody's really trying to peak and the best shot at us, and those games start counting because they're games that you're sitting at home if you lose, right? So I feel like our identity has been set. I think we've proven how good we are. It's just a question of how much is that big three, as everyone's calling them, and honestly, even just starting five, like how much are they able to carry and just sustain the incredible production that they've done up to this point.
Eric, one of the questions that I had going into this season, obviously the talent was there and on paper looked like a great team, but I was wondering how they would come together as far as chemistry is concerned. From your vantage point, having played at the highest level of basketball, how have you seen the chemistry develop between those big three of AJ, Richie, and Rob, and the way that they've been able to kind of build their games off of each other?
Yeah, I think the chemistry has been great. I from the outside looking in, felt that they were going to have great chemistry during the off season. It looked and felt like there was a concerted effort to get guys together and do things outside of the gym. And it sounds, so simple, but it's hard to do. And when it's done and guys genuinely like each other, it makes a really big difference. So I think the chemistry is great. I think guys are genuinely excited for each other. I think they play the right way. That's for sure something that doesn't even get, in my opinion, highlighted enough about AJ is like he plays the right way. It really feels like he wants to make the right play every time, and he's genuinely celebrating for his teammates when they have success. And that's pretty cool coming from a guy like that is that young and has that much hype around them and just so many incredible experiences in the basketball world out in front of him. And he's here and he's in the moment and he's celebrating his guys like he would be if he was winning, an NBA championship or a gold medal with USA, right? So I think the chemistry is great. I think that's one of our strongest things that we have going for us is the fact that the guys like each other and they play the right way.
What's been your impressions of Abdullah Bidu Ahmed stepping in? I mean, mid-year addition in this new world of college basketball. BYU gets a former G League guy, and he steps in. He's averaging 3 blocks per game, but your impressions early on of Bidu at that 5 spot?
Yeah, I like him. I'm really interested to see how much his role grows. I guess, kind of going back on what I said earlier, a little bit, that's a question mark, right? Just because he's coming in so late. But man, he's such a fantastic option to go to when Kaba is out with this little ankle thing, or if he's got foul trouble down the road, or if the matchup just isn't going our way. He's chasing balls on rebounds and he's got like 8 block shots in like 30 something minutes or something, right? So he's a very good rim protector. I think he's shown flashes of real ability on the offensive end as well. I can't even imagine the whirlwind that he's gone through trying to get up to speed. So it'll be good to see him continue to get in better shape, get acclimated with the offense and what his role can be there. But baseline, just playing a couple games and already having an effect on the boards and in the blocks column, I think has been fantastic. I've liked him a lot so far.
Last thing for you, Eric. Again, we're talking with Eric Mika here, host of Washed Up Podcast and former BYU great. Just your prediction for tonight's game between BYU and Utah.
Oh, man, prediction for tonight. What's the line, 13.5 or something?
Yeah.
Is that what I saw?
Yeah, it's 13.5.
Yeah.
They going to hammer them? Because BYU tends to struggle in that Huntsman Center, man.
Yeah, and we've had some up and down, mostly down first halves. I mentioned just kind of the weirdness around rivalries. I'm gonna ask Mr. TJ Hawes here. What do you think? 13.5.
I think we win by 15.
TJ says we win by 15.
I like
plus.
That. That's solid.
I'm gonna say. TJ says 80-63. So you're saying 17. I'm gonna say 16. No, 14-point win for us. So I say we cover.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm going, what does that mean? 81-67 for me.
Okay. That would be good. That'd be a solid night, and I'm sure KY would take that compared to what they experienced last year in the Huntsman Center.
100%. I agree.
Eric, he's Eric Mika, former BYU star NBA player. Appreciate the time, Eric, for sharing your perspective and continue the good work breaking down BYU hoops as well.
No, thanks for having me, and feel free to hop in, you and anyone listening. We always do these post-game chats, which are fun, quick and easy, and we'd love to see you in there and teach us how to do this, man.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it, man.
Yep, have a good one.
That's Eric Mika, former BYU basketball star, here on Cougar Sports Saturday on KSL News Radio. Let's take a break. On the other side, we'll get to some look in around the Big 12. There's been some interesting results today and in college basketball around the nation. We'll check in on the scoreboard around college hoops next year on Cougar Sports Saturday.